Wow, a lot of people hopping in there. If you have questions for Mr. Mathis, please drop them in there, and we'll integrate them in the show as is appropriate. And again, if you're listening on any other platforms, we are on the IndyWrestling.us Facebook page for a lot of those questions. I know a lot of you may be at IndyWrestling.us on the front page as well, but over there. Actually, we'll probably pull up the Twitch too. Should be doing that. So while we're at it, we'll go and do that, just in case anybody does have any questions. So, all right, guys, here we go. It is the Indy Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Beachview, a neighborhood of Pittsburgh, PA. Ready to chat with you here on this Wednesday night or whenever you're catching your podcast. Of course, please check out everything at WrestlingMayhemShow.com, IndyWrestling.us if you want to check out this and other great wrestling podcasts, or if you want to check out a lot of the people we talk with here on this show in particular are featured over at IndyWrestling.us, IndyWrestling.network. One of the very particular matches we're going to be talking about tonight is definitely over exclusively at IndyWrestling.network. I encourage you guys to check it out if you're not too squeamish, of course. And you can also drop us a line at goodtimes at WrestlingMayhemShow.com or 412-206-WMS0. If we have somebody coming up here that you have any questions for, or if you have suggestions for people we should be talking to on the show, or even roundtables as well. We've done a couple of great panels about intergender wrestling, state of Pittsburgh wrestling, and other subject matters as well. If there's anything you'd like, or any things you'd like us to revisit with people, like we talked about the ill-fated To Catch a Predator parody segment they did on PWO television with Joe Dabrowski and Jimmy DeMarco months ago that you guys should definitely check out. A little bit of Cleveland wrestling lore we got into there. So please hit us up on those lines for either way you want to, or of course US Indie Wrestling on Twitter or Mayhem Show on Twitter as well. So let's get into it. Our guest is returning. It's been probably about a year since we had him on the show. So back with us, and he's got a shiny new belt he's showing off here this week. Thomas Mathis, the absolute.
What's up, everybody?
Do I have to put an extra emphasis on absolute on that? I know it does on your Twitter.
It's absolutely.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, before the show, we were doing a little bit extra for the stream and for Patreon. You were giving us some nutrition tips. So if you guys want to go check that out, patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show, and we'll have some clips up there later in the week. So how you doing, man? It's been about a year.
Yeah, it's been a year. I'm doing great. I'm having tons of fun. Mm-hmm. I'm learning a lot, and I'm really happy with where I'm at and the progress that I've made in the last year.
Excellent.
Yeah, I feel like I've come a really long way from where I was a year ago, and I'm feeling really proud and really pumped up, and I'm excited for what the future might hold, and I'm going to keep putting my best efforts into it and having fun and getting better.
Well, we continue to see you. Of course, I've seen you across other promotions that we've worked with over the last several years with RWA and Fight Society, of course. But the biggest thing I definitely want to talk about off the top here is a match that you had in this past year that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for us to watch. I don't know how much fun it was for you, but there was in particular there was a pretty monumental match that I feel like I'm hearing fans mention to me. In your status with the company afterwards, ever since this match that happened in, I think it was August at Black Diamond's Heat Wave, I believe it was.
Yeah.
You had a last man standing match with Beastman that was, I won't even dare to show clips on this show because we are an explicit tag, but there was a lot of blood. Like, a lot of blood. And it wasn't yours. It's a little bit of, you should see the other guy afterwards, right?
Yeah, that was a brutal match, for sure. That was a big experience, had a big impact on me, because I haven't been in a last man standing match before that. But I have been in some other brutal matches like the Gambino street fight at RWA.
Yes, the mustard in the tights. I think we talked about that the last time you were on.
Yeah, that one. That match was not even close to being as brutal as the Last Man Standing. Last Man Standing, that I mean, I know that I'm still a young worker, but that match, that really beat the crap out of me. Yeah, I felt that match, and the injury that led to that match, where I ate the post pretty good, that kind of fatigued me down as well, because I was dealing with a concussion from that. That was the battle.
So it was interesting because this was a match that came out of what was kind of it seemed like a freak incident of sorts in a match several months prior. I think you were in a multi-man match with Beastman, and you happened to catch the post and get a concussion out of.
Yeah, that post rocked me. That concussion was annoying. That concussion.
Was that your first?
No, I've had concussions before, but that one messed with me. Yeah, that was a challenge to get over. I felt so fatigued. I felt like my just energy was cut in half, and I couldn't train with as much intensity. And my I think it showed in my physique. And 2019 in general has been really crazy experience as far as maintaining my physique and while I'm out there wrestling and stuff, because the wrestling really beats the crap out of your body. And I'm trying to continue building my physique. And when I take when I go through concussions and stuff, that it makes it tough to continue moving forward physically.
Because you got to take a step back to a certain point, right? You can't go full tilt with the rest of what you want to do to maintain your body. Right.
Well, not only maintain, I'm trying to continue building up my body. That way I can look good from all angles. And that's the goal. Every photo, just the aesthetics, I want them to be there. And I'll get there, definitely. But the injuries, they're tough, but they always make me tougher. Yeah, getting past them. And I went through something worse after the last man standing match. I injured my long thoracic nerve.
Which is the first time I've heard of this nerve, by the way.
Yeah, that was not fun. And that happened from wear and tear. When I became a wrestler, I was actually dealing with, I'll never know exactly what I did to my rotator cuff, but it was shot. And I was afraid that, if I never used my body, what was the point of ever having it? So I became a professional wrestler. And the bumping over time on the rotator cuff, I think it caused me to injure my long thoracic nerve, but this is all just kind of speculation. I'll never know for sure. Even if I went to a doctor, he wouldn't be able to tell me for sure.
That is a difficult thing. I know some people that have been in car accidents, and it's been nerve damage to the point where getting benefits for having been injured when somebody hits you and you have nerve damage is hard to prove, right?
Yeah.
And treat and figure out and diagnose and deal with, even though you have this no, I can't hold something's wrong, but nobody can agree with you, right?
Yeah. The nerve damage was scary because of the pain. I didn't really know what was going on, and I was having shooting pain down my arm, my whole shoulder blade. It was constant, and I'm talking screaming pain, really bad pain. And it caused me to lose control of my scap, which is my shoulder blade. It wasn't functioning right, and because of that, I couldn't get my right pec to fire, and I ended up, my right pec literally atrophied
It just wasn't being used no matter what. Like it wasn't kicking in, right?
I couldn't get any blood into the area. And my pec atrophied, and I'm like, well, you know what? I got one pec. I got to keep going. I mean, all I can do is fight against it and fix it. It was a really complicated issue to fix. It caused my scap to wing. I've learned so much about the shoulder blades since then, and all the muscles that are connected to it and stuff. It's really fascinating to me. But it caused my scap to wing, and it was just a really complicated issue to fix. But I think I'm past it, and I think I'm like brand new again as far like physically. My framework, the rotator cuff that started it all, the concussion, I'm not injured. I'm like feeling 100% healthy. And I think in the next year, my physique will really start to blossom. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Like the chest, the lats, and then I'll start bringing my arms up. So it's like you work from the torso out. But that's just how I do it. So.
And that seems normal. Like some people get into wrestling and they're not really even know how to start with their body, right? And you see them, they're kind of just a person getting into wrestling, know how to do the stuff, and then as they go, I mean, look at like kind of Elias, for instance. Looking at Logan Shulo when he started versus Elias now is like two different people practically.
Yeah, Elias is jacked.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in decent shape when he was around here, so it's just like holy crap. But I guess that's what happens when you have world-class trainers at your disposal for that. So
you can always watch Jeff Cavalier on Athlean-X. Man, I really can't. He's so helpful to obviously millions of people. He probably has millions of people. I'm not sure, but I know for a fact that he is one of the reasons why I was able to beat this injury to my rotator cuff and the long thoracic nerve, and I'm so grateful that people like him are out there who are just willing to give us his knowledge and help just completely free out of the goodness of his heart. It's awesome. And he's always working with WWE guys too. Yeah.
I mean, look at all those guys. But
yeah,
I always see like before or after. Somebody just dropped Tommaso Ciampa like 10 years ago to now, and it's just night and day.
Yeah.
So I mentioned this. You had a couple scary moments in this Last Man Standing that I was there in person to watch and film. Including it looked like you took a pretty bad bump on a table. I'm like,
yeah, I remember that.
Beast Man was bleeding all over the place. I can't imagine you've been in a match with more blood involved.
No, not even close. Those red trunks I have they're red because of Fetty's blood. I'll always those trunks will be special to me because Fetty's blood is on them, and it means a lot to me. I puked in that match too.
Yes, you did. I remember. I tried not to film it.
I made a GIF of it because I thought look at the brutality in this match.
Hey, to be fair, I do. And I think this is the second time I've filmed somebody puking in a match, because the first time, now high praise, was the now Walking Wild taking on Chavo Guerrero in probably 2010, 2011. Yeah. And Chavo worked him over so much that, and I don't know what his name was, Shima Zion probably at the time. But yeah, he worked him over so much he just like puked in the middle of the ring.
I remember you telling us this story. I'm not sure where, but I've heard the story before.
It's my go-to puke story. Now you're my second go-to puke story.
That's an honor.
Anyway, so other than that, you've of course been doing a lot of stuff in getting a falling over at Black Diamond in West Virginia. And that's in Benwood, just south of Wheeling, for any geography nuts out there. But you've been going a lot of different places. You've been branching out. Of course, you're Pittsburgh-based, but you've been hitting a lot of things outside of Pittsburgh.
That's right. Yeah, I really like to explore. I like to go on long road trips, and I like to engage with new crowds in new areas, just for like the sake of learning. And I found a lot of success at Eastern Panhandle Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, it's close to Maryland.
Okay.
Having a blast there. I'm the cruiserweight champion there. I'm very proud. There are a lot of good people that I've met there, and they've opened up some new doors to me in Allentown. So we'll see if I can connect the dots with that opportunity that's coming. So hopefully that'll be a fourth show. And we got some other opportunities on the horizon in Detroit, hoping to become a mainstay at a show in Detroit.
I do have to share this story because I in my travels, we were talking about before the show, when I'm traveling with my work in the spring, I get to go check out a lot of other promotions. And one of them was this international big time wrestling. I knew Beastman was going to be there, so I'm like, okay, I know friends of the show are going to be there. Let's see what's up. And then I noticed, because I don't think you had been on since this happened, I noticed a very familiar looking referee.
Yeah, it was me.
I was like a very in shape referee. So that was kind of, and you stuck out as a referee. I mean, not for the bad reasons, I think. But tell me a little bit about that experience. Have you refereed much, or was that kind of a thing that was thrown at you?
So I was a referee at Mega Pro when I first showed up there.
Oh, okay.
But that was only because I forgot my gear.
Oh.
Yeah. Won't make that mistake again. But then, yeah, I got an opportunity to get in front of the crowd at International Big Time Wrestling, and that show was so awesome. So awesome. I had so much fun back there. I met Congo Kong, who he's a friend of mine. He critiques my matches. He gives me all kinds of helpful advice. There's a guy at International Big Time Wrestling named Soul Taker.
He's gone by other names that I think Greg Ryan talked to him about on his podcast.
Dude, I loved him. He was so cool. I was freezing in the locker room, right? Because they had like this big opening, and it was like, it was chilly, and I was like freezing. And Soul Taker, he came up to me. He's like, "Yo, hold up, just do this." And he was like Goldust style.
Yeah. He's
like, "Just chill." And I'll never forget that. And ever since then, every time I'm cold, I think about Soul Taker. And I'm able to collect myself with his breathing technique. But I had a blast in the ring as a referee. You know, I learned about some stuff too, as far as like referee selling goes. And it was really fun. And I'm gonna be up there with Fetty to have a match, and I'm really hoping that I can earn a roster spot, because that show was awesome. That crowd was awesome. I really liked the presentation of it all and stuff.
And it's a very because I know the Rude Boy, who's known for the Insane Clown Posse Juggalo Championship Wrestling stuff, is involved in that, which I didn't realize how much of a Juggalo-ish show that was going to be. It's not full on. If you're not, it's not like the JCW shows where if you're not down with everything, you don't get it. Like it's a general wrestling show, just with a little bit, like there was a hatchet man in the audience or something. As that kind of led to a little bit of a different audience that you get to deal with.
What was that?
Has been at a kind of a Juggalo adjacent promotion like that kind of led to some interesting fan interactions up there?
Well, not too much, because I was just a referee. But if I can get on there and stay there, I would be really interested to see how the fans warm up to me over time. Yeah, I'm sure they were feisty and stuff, and they were into it. So it's always exciting when you have good fans who are invested in what we're doing in there.
So, like I say, it's been about a year since we talked, and you've been to several promotions. What's the biggest thing? What's your biggest takeaway, other than the injuries? Putting that aside, of your experiences, what's your biggest takeaway, or something you may have learned from somebody other than your warming up techniques from Soul Taker?
Yeah.
What's your biggest takeaway from the year?
Well, I attended a seminar at EPPW. It was Mike Kanellis, and he came in and he really opened my eyes about how hard the top level guys are all working. And he mentioned like Randy Orton. He mentioned, I believe, John Cena. He mentioned Vince McMahon and how Vince McMahon gets up at like the crack of dawn to go work out every single day. And he's like 60 years old or something.
I
like
think it's 70.
70,
now, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And he was telling us about, if you think you're working hard enough, work harder.
There's always somebody working harder than you, right?
Yeah. So hard work was, that he really opened my eyes to that. And I've since I try to step it up continuously, always raising the bar on myself, and progressing and growing. That's what I want. And Mike Kanellis, he gave us a lot of assurance. And he told us that, he was like us at one point where he was, on the road attending these events and getting experience and stuff. And he talked about his demons and his adversity. And he assured us that if he could do it, we could do it too. And to have faith and that, a call will eventually come, so long as you're willing to put in the hard work. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's been good to see you again grow in these last several years. I know you're 3 years in the business. You're still a pup.
Yeah. It's more like 2.5 years.
2.5.
It'll be 3 years in August.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any big goals for the new year coming up?
Yeah. I want to become a mainstay at least 2 more shows.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be I'm confirmed through the year at Imagine Wrestling and EPPW. And then there's Black Diamond. If I could get 2 more, that would be great. If I could really develop my my chest and my lats, which will taper down my waist more and make me look crazier. Like it'll just make me look like I have this super tapered down waist and big wide lats with like a big glutes and quads. So I'll just look hopefully really like ridiculous. So that's another goal. Maybe that might take 2 years.
That might be a 2-year one.
Muscle's hard to build.
Good. Anyway, we talked about it. I mean, this has been a long time with you. The fitness and and working on the body has been like a lifelong thing for you, basically, right? So
yeah, it's been 8 years.
It's not just to be looking good wrestling. It's
well, things have changed. Wrestling is the most important thing to me. My body is just my toolkit.
Okay.
And that's why I work harder now on my body than I ever did before I was a wrestler. Yeah, I mean, my body's now just, it's not fun building my body. It's a project.
Yeah.
And it's now my toolkit. Yeah. I need this thing so I can do what I love. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know we had a conversation about social media. I understand you did get some stuff ramped back up again, right?
What was that?
Social media.
Yeah, I got Twitter back up.
We had a discussion about this at one of the shows.
Yeah. So I'm from a background where I was not very up with social media. And when getting into the business, I had to learn a lot about social media, and I had some friends who were willing to kind of help me along, like Kayla Thompson helped me along, especially with Twitter. But yeah, that was a big, it was a steep learning curve, but I think I got it together a little bit at least. Get started. The seeds are planted.
Good. And where can people find you online?
So you can find me on Twitter at Tommy Absolute. You can find me on Instagram at Absolute Thomas Mathis, I believe.
I think it's Thomas Mathis.
Absolute. Okay,
Yeah, Thomas Mathis
flipped.
Absolute.
So
I
Thomas
happen to have
Mathis.
that one up.
Yeah, Thomas Mathis Absolute on Instagram, and Facebook is the same, I believe.
There
Thomas
you go.
Mathis Absolute.
Go check it out, and of course you'll find out dates where Mathis will be popping up all over the place. It sounds like and defending that cruiserweight championship he's holding over there on the couch.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining. Hey, good to be catching up with you too and seeing how you're going. And we'll be having some more catch-ups we have scheduled here in the coming months as well. So check out everything. Don't miss an episode. Please subscribe to the Indy Mayhem Show on your podcast provider, or of course follow IndyWrestling.us on all the social medias and YouTubes so you can get all the interviews and all the past interviews. I mean, we talked with a lot of people over the years. We basically have a yearly check-in with Shane Taylor over at Ring of Honor, it seems. Early discussions with Britt Baker after she first broke into the business. So please go check out all of those between WrestlingMayhemShow.com, IndyWrestling.us. A lot of great stuff going on over there. And of course, you can check our guest tonight in action at IndyWrestling.us and IndyWrestling.network, especially on the Black Diamond and the RWA shows. So thank you so much to Thomas for joining us. Thank you guys in the chat room joining us live on Facebook and all the other platforms. Until next time, please support Indie Wrestling.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, chatters, for hanging out there. I know we saw a few of you popping in and out throughout the night, and we will be back. I don't think we're streaming until Friday night, actually. Friday night we'll be on the Wrestling Mayhem Show. I guess the Indie Wrestling US social medias. The Brohemoth will be back gaming. Or we're watching Velocipaster. I don't know which way we're going with this. I'm hearing multiple things from the group, but we'll be returning with that very